Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm Jody,
I'm JT.
and we are the Bowtie Baptists coming at you with another episode from the shop.
The Masters Green.
Yeah. So, speaking of, we didn't even bring that up last time. You will notice a wide array of backdrops that you'll be seeing until we get a permanent space set up. But honestly, this was something we got for the Easter egg hunt at church. Yeah. So if you want to know how we use it at the Easter egg hunt, come to our Easter egg hunt. We'll let you know when it is as the time gets near, since Easter is really late this year.
We should have a live audience in your shed one day. Have a contest. You can be on set with us.
the kids actually did want to come out here and watch us record it tonight.
Sure.
It's like, you're going to freeze to death. Yeah, but okay, come on.
It'll be cold. We got the nice heaters.
Yeah. So
right here.
Yeah, which we mentioned the strategic placement last episode. But this episode is just going to be kind of talking. We just wanted to explain our thoughts on the slogan that we came up with for the show that you offered, and then we kind of played around with
modified it a little bit. Yeah, I mean, this shows, man, it's always going to be growing, right? Yeah. We're going to be changing, whatnot, and we initially, when we started it, kind of, what's the point? What's the purpose? What's our goal, right? And initially, correct me if I'm wrong, it was, for some reason, navigating the secular world came to me. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think I read something or another popped in my head. I was like, okay, let's help Baptists navigate the secular world.
Yeah.
That was kind of the start of it. And then you threw in, just biblically navigating the secular world.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
And one of the things that we wanted to do originally, when we very first started talking about it, when it wasn't even the possibility of being in the realm of reality, was a way to offer the information that we were giving at our convention team meetings once a month at church, so that people that couldn't attend, or even for people that don't go to our church, could stay in the loop of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that lasted for like maybe 30 seconds. And we're like, no, let's go bigger.
Yeah.
And that way we're not solely focused on current events at SBC, but
we still want to stay there.
Yeah.
We still want to, currently the executive committee's having their, what do you call it? Just a meeting, their yearly.
No, so they have.
President Clint Presley spoke today, I believe. At it.
He did, yeah. They have them periodically. They have these sessions.
Okay. We're gonna wait. We talked about having just kind of an update whenever it concluded. Once we both had both a little time here, to dig in and the facts and navigate all that.
That
give you an update on it.
That can actually be watched. So anybody that's not wanting to watch our recap of it, our thoughts and opinions about what's done and said at it, you can go and stream them unless something has changed. I know the one they had the end of last year, I think it's on the SBC's website.
Is it?
I know if it's not, because I streamed the one.
The Baptist Press is where
year.
I'm getting my information. The Baptist Press app. Do you have that?
I don't have the app, but I look at their stuff some.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer the Baptist paper, and for a broader range, I like the Baptist paper. But I know it's going to sound like I'm kind of sucking up a little bit, but the Courier, the Baptist Courier, that's the South Carolina. You've got yours.
You mean this Courier?
Yeah. So that's the South Carolina publication, the publication affiliated with the South Carolina Baptist Convention. Now, the Baptist paper, we've been talking about getting subscriptions to it.
Yeah.
But it's cool in that they have articles from all of these state level publications. So they might have something, and they come out, I think, every other week with a copy. And it's actually like a newspaper as opposed to a magazine format.
I do enjoy the newspaper.
Yeah.
Nostalgia, man.
Yeah, I like the magazine, but I like the newspaper as well. And
that the newspaper, I mean, not the magazine, fits perfectly in my little briefcase.
And I will say that the key difference I've observed between the Courier and the Baptist paper is the paper is more of the articles seem to be more focused on current events in the SBC and what's happening in the different states. The Baptist paper is, whereas the Courier is more of just articles.
And I enjoyed. I haven't read through this one. I enjoyed last month's.
Yeah,
last month it was going through God's purpose.
Yeah,
good articles. I would highly recommend.
And they've actually got a podcast, and this kind of will kind of segue, I guess, a little bit into talking about our slogan, but I'll just go ahead and mention it, and then we can talk about some other things before we get into the slogan. But
is that podcast on Spotify?
It is. That's where I listen. To Spotify. So now it's called Courier Conversations.
I'm gonna find that right now.
And the episode that just came out, it comes out on the 15th and the last day of the month, if I'm remembering right. I'm pretty sure it's the last day of the month, not the first. But the one that just came out on the 15th of this month is about DEI, like the political hot button DEI that you're hearing about right now, which, again, with the segue into our slogan, is biblically navigating a secular world. And we know we're not the only ones out here trying to help folks biblically navigate a secular world,
right?
But I'm gonna give those guys a plug and suggest anybody that's listening to this show go and listen to that particular episode. Listen to their other shows; they've got all their content's pretty good.
You probably you won't be able to see. I found their link. I'm following it now.
We'll
I will give that a listen.
Yeah,
I want to hear that.
Yeah, so just whatever you're listening to us on, I'm sure you can find them on. But again, it's called Courier Conversations, and the one about DEI was really good.
Yeah,
it was. They looked at the world's version of DEI. And then they looked at DEI, like each individual term, word that comprises that inclusion, from a biblical definition and perspective. And it did not go the direction I was expecting it to, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Like I wasn't really expecting it to go in a kind of odd, bad way anyway. But the propositions that they made were not the ones that I had in my mind that I was expecting them to go. They just went a different direction with it than what I was anticipating, but it was still good. And I need to reach out to them. Maybe they can come on and talk about the Courier and give the audience a history about the Courier. And
or maybe we can go on there or something. I don't know. We'll string big here. But man, that's
But yeah, so
I just thought of a topic that I kind of, because we live in a secular world.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe you can speak to this, but for me, I work for a company that's global. So I mean, you have to watch what you say. If you offend in certain aspects, that it's all, you can make fun of God all you want.
Yeah,
you're not gonna lose your job for that. But if you misgender somebody, for example, I mean, these are real life consequences. Is my point. And us giving or providing just biblical reference and insight and guidance.
Yeah.
I want to be able to provide that in the show.
Yeah. And then not just outside of the church with your living, but another thing that we want to have as topics that we're regularly discussing is ideas for folks, for the audience, of what they could incorporate into their local churches that maybe they have the same programs we do, and they're trying to find new ideas, fresh ideas, change things up a little bit. Maybe something's starting to get stagnant or starting to die off or fade away. And they're just looking for ideas to change it up a little bit, to give it a little bit of a boost and get it back to where it was. And we're looking for the same things. So it goes back to cooperation. And that there's a whole article in Baptist Faith and Message 2000 about cooperation. And it's one thing is that you need to work together to grow the kingdom and benefit the kingdom. And at the same time, another thing that you also obviously have to factor into it is where you're getting your ideas and your information from. You have to make sure that it's in line with your doctrinal beliefs and your doctrinal stances. So it's just like our church is not going to go out and necessarily partner with and financially support and jump on the bandwagon with, say, and I'm not trying to pick on any particular groups or denominations, but we're not necessarily going to go out and, start supporting a missionary that is, we'll just say, a Presbyterian or Methodist that doesn't do baptism, like believers' baptism. We're not going to support that because we don't believe in that. We believe that the Bible clearly states baptism is submersion for a believer.
I love the outward. Oh man, we had a great conversation about that in Sunday school. One, what Darren says I really like is an outward profession of an inward possession.
Yeah,
and that's a good way, I think, to describe that to people who maybe were sprinkled as a child or whatever. But can we go up on a little?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Do we need to check with the boss?
Yeah.
But I want to, man. Think of people on the cross. Mm-hmm. I've always wondered, once he got, just imagine, for example, you're in line to get judged, and then someone's there, right? Mm-hmm. How did you get here? Or do you check the box or whatever? Obviously, this isn't doctrinally sound here. This is just an example. But he's like, sir, it's like, what do you know about the doctrine of salvation? What did you know? What do you know about this? What do you know? Like, I don't know any of this. Like, well, let me go get my manager. Let me see what he thinks. What did you? When did you get baptized? When did you do this? When did you do that? And he says, I don't know any of that. Well, how did you get here? It's like, because the guy in the middle cross said I could. Yeah. And that's just like, we had a great discussion on that. Yeah. And it was, we dig in on, we plant our feet to the ground, but I also, let's remember, and let's communicate with each other. Just, it's Jesus. Yeah. Man. And we can usually find some common ground. Yeah. With a lot of with the people and whatnot, and
and that's kind of one thing you saying that just kind of brings up to mind what I said a few minutes ago about being selective of what you support. It's one of those things that we can and absolutely will and should work with someone as long as they're teaching biblically sound doctrine. It doesn't matter if they say they're Baptist, doesn't matter if they say they're Catholic. They can be Free Will Baptist, Independent Baptist, Southern Baptist, one of the other 50 Baptists plus however many different there are. But if the whole point is sharing the gospel and sharing the gospel truth as it's written in the word, that's fine and well. It's just once it starts breaking off into the other areas, we've got to be careful of. But
and that goes back to biblically navigating these things,
right?
And that, again, that's we wanted this show to be, let's have the conversation. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And because, that's some arguments you will have with people, well, what's more important here? Is it, the mission, or is it the, maybe let's not stay on mission, but is it the spreading of the word, or is it, we spreading the right doctrine of the word, which I'm a big component. You need to be spreading you need to be spreading the word.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, there's a fine line there.
Yeah.
It's a very fine line. And, regardless, plenty of people will disagree with that. And again, let's look into scripture. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And
you know what? Let's go ahead and take that to the next level with an example, because you and I have talked about the annual meeting in the past, and one of the programs that you're going through is the FBI, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I didn't do it this semester. I did it last semester. Yeah.
And we were talking, and it's one of those things. It's like, well, I mean, they had a booth at the annual meeting, so they're kosher, right? It's like, you would think that. And when I wasn't able to go to Indy last year, but when I went to New Orleans, there's one group there that I got some paperwork from. I was just kind of curious about them. It was it involved mission service, summer mission service in the national park system. So this is kind of cool. Let me read up on this a little bit. Once I got back, you wouldn't think it from their booth. You wouldn't think it from the pamphlets that they gave out. But when I did some digging on their website, it's a Catholic organization. So there's Catholic recruiting happening at the annual meeting for the Southern Baptist Convention. And again, if they're teaching sound doctrine, that's fine, but they're Catholic, so I'm going to offend people here. It's probably not sound doctrine, not biblically sound doctrine anyway. And so that brings up the question, how did that get through the cracks?
Yeah.
Like, why is that organization at the Southern Baptist Convention's annual meeting recruiting people to work with them?
Think about the success rate there. Think about the people who go to the convention.
Yeah.
Like we're Baptist, man.
Yeah.
If you're going to the annual meeting, you're pretty Baptist.
And people don't realize it. Like I didn't until I went, because I've learned through getting burned by not doing my research or due diligence.
Same here.
That you have to find their statement of faith to find out if what they're doing and what they're saying and what they're spreading and sharing aligns with your beliefs and your statement of faith.
Well, even too, man. I mean, even within you have Calvinist Baptist churches. Like, it's not just Catholic versus Baptist. I mean, it's the world is my point that I'm getting at. That no matter what, you can get off doctrine or you can get off scripture. Let's just call it scripture at this point. Yeah, and it's a secular world, man.
Yeah, because and you bring up the good point with the Calvinist versus non-Calvinist. I don't think Calvinistic doctrines are sound doctrines, personally. And it's one of those things, like, we have a lot of...
We're working on an episode about that, by the way.
Yeah, we have lot of...
That's taking us some time.
Yeah, we want to
have our request
for that one.
Yeah, we're working on that.
But the thing of it is you start seeing more and more Calvinist stances in the Southern Baptist world, and you used to not see it. Depending on who you asked, it used to be all you see.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's flooding the seminaries. It's flooding the schools that are the smaller colleges, like in South Carolina. We have 3 that are supported through the state convention. And I'm not saying they're getting flooded with. I don't know if they are or not, but I know for a fact a couple of seminaries have a lot of Calvinistic teachings coming out of them. And I found 2 books that I'm currently reading in order to help write the material for a New to Bellevue class, which is going to be focused on what we believe doctrinally as a body of believers at Bellevue, our local body. And it's focused on the Baptist Faith and Message 2000. Now, there are also additional doctrines that aren't covered there, stances that we have that are scripturally supported, like, and this is one that I think is going to be a fun discussion between you and I. Should a woman be allowed to be a deacon?
Well, she's not violating
capacity.
She's not violating the Baptist Faith and Message as she is.
Not violating Baptist Faith and Message, but is it scripturally sound?
I would suggest no.
My stance is no, because woman, man of one wife. I'm not getting into the politics and discussion of whether or not that's referring to divorce, polygamy, whatever this episode, but a man of one wife cannot be a woman.
Yeah, and then you'll have the people throw in the Phoebe in Acts, Paul appointing Phoebe at the beginning. I would love to save all this.
We'll dive deeper.
The point is, this stuff ain't easy.
No, it's not.
Because everybody who has all these opinions we just talked about think they're biblically sound.
Yeah.
And, I learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Just like in my deep dive this week. I'm not perfect, but that's the purpose of let's grow together.
Yeah. And then it goes back to the cooperation thing, is we have these different ideas on what different scriptures say, but at the end of the day, not factor in can a man or can a woman be a deacon, not factoring in the election. Now that's probably a bad example for where I'm headed with this, but the end of the day
that's more like you took predestination,
like election predestination. Okay, yeah. So where I'm really trying to head with this is, are we sharing the gospel for people to achieve salvation? That's the main thing. Once you get past that, that's when we can have our differences and discussions and disagreements even. But as long as it's not sacrificing getting that message of salvation out.
Yeah, and we can unravel this.
Yeah,
we
can nitpick it to death.
My thing is just successful churches. The most successful, I think. Should we name drop? I don't probably shouldn't name drop here. No, but the biggest church in the country is a feel good gospel. To me, that's not salvation.
Yeah.
That's not, to me that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And so
because
that fight to me is worth fighting.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not we want to argue, I guess some finer tuned details that someone doesn't necessarily experience in their spiritual walk until like very far in their walk.
Yeah.
But there are some things I believe we need to plant ourselves on and stand firm.
Oh, absolutely.
And let's keep that in mind too, because again, like you said, it's about the Great Commission, what the IMB says, the Great Pursuit, which I love.
Yeah.
But it's how does someone gain salvation?
Yeah.
It's through Christ Jesus.
Yeah.
And let's not lose that. And not sure exactly where I'm going, but it's like I said, we'll nitpick probably till the day we die.
Oh,
as a world,
but basically we've gone through all that last 25 minutes of discussion to bring it back to this. Biblically navigating a secular world. That is our goal. That is our mission. That is what we want to help you do. That is what we want to help each other do. And I really think that's probably the best way of explaining how we came to do this is we're both seeking these answers of how it's best to biblically navigate a secular world. And it's, I feel this way, and I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I don't think it's right to figure out how to navigate it and not share that map with the rest of the world.
Oh yeah.
And that's effectively what we want to do.
Well, you know, you'll talk to some people and they'll say, "Well, the Bible doesn't speak about this." I guarantee you, it probably does. You know, because some people, the Bible, you know, I can't remember how exactly we said it, but you know, there are biblical practical answers for issues today. Like we're not outgrowing the Bible, so to speak.
Right.
And we can always find resource of knowledge in God's text.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's nothing new under the sun. And if there's an answer that we need, it's in the Bible. But when we first talked about it, one of the things we were like, we got to come up with a slogan or catchphrase or something
catchy.
Yeah,
we'll come up with a jingle one day.
Something that'll kind of,
we might sing it.
Yeah, something that'll help us stay on point and stay on focus with what we're wanting to do, because we have so many different ideas of the ways that we want to take this, the way we could see this potentially going, topics that we want to discuss. You've got topics, I've got topics. Some are the same, some are different.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought this up. You mentioned this one up. You say, well, how about helping Baptists navigate a secular world? I remember that. And I was like, I like that. And then I got thinking about it, and
I mean, more than just Baptists can benefit from what, I mean, it's God's word.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of, I made those couple t-shirts for us, and doing the coffee cups. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I wonder if maybe put that on the back of a shirt or something just to garner interest. And I was like, the only thing is, it doesn't really flow very well. I was like, and make it more all encompassing. And I just got thinking about it and mentioned that I don't know, God gave me that. That wasn't me. As far as changing the helping Baptist navigate, because originally I just took the helping off and it was just Baptist navigating the secular world. But you had brought up the comment about some folks you were talking to that you think are listening to it. They've told you they're listening to it that aren't Baptist.
Oh yeah.
But they're all looking for the same thing. They're looking for biblical information to help them get through the world. So I know you think it's my idea, but it was really your idea. I'm just the one that wrote it down and sent you the text, said, hey, what you think about this? And we went with it. And, I'm trying to play around with a little bit of a design part. Yeah. But to help us get it out a little bit more. But which I made one, and I'm one of those, I have to see it in person to see if I like it or not. I'm not really a big fan of that one.
I was thinking it, just like the Baptist Review.
Yeah.
They had their slogan in the intro.
Yeah.
Like better conversation for a better convention. I think that's what it is. So
that sounds right. Yeah.
I wish I had an idea of what we could call our followers, but I'm eventually going to think of something. But yeah, we're trying to come up. We need some type of intro type thing. Yeah. And I think that's a perfect.
Yeah. And we've got one written. We've got one written. We just haven't recorded it yet. We wanted to introduce the audience to this slogan, if you will, or I guess slogan's the right word for it, but we wanted to introduce it to you. And then in the next episode, we'll have a bit more formal intro with this involved. But yeah, we've got a vision. God's probably going to change our vision at some point
next week,
possibly multiple times between now and next week. But we're open for other topics. Anything that you need help navigating,
this whole thing started because we talked so much just because we're both involved in similar ministries, numerous other ministries, whatever, and we just we just enjoy having conversation, talking about these things and talking about biblical doctrine, biblical views, doctrine, etc. And I mean, ultimately, just let's come be a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
it's just kind of how I want this community to be, and tell us what you think. Tell us in person, Scotty.
I forgot to name drop him, didn't I? This episode. There you go, Scotty.
There you go, Scotty.
That's you.
But no, I like it. I like it a lot. I like what we stand for.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for the next one.
Okay. So we hope that you guys are getting something out of it. If you're not, let us know what would help you get something out of it.
Minus us singing. Again, because I had a lot of compliments on us singing. Well, they were compliments. They were said in church, so they were nicer than they probably had to be.
Well, I haven't had any compliments, but I also haven't had anybody ask us to sing at church either. So that's probably
when did the men sing at church? I do look forward to that. I'm not gonna lie.
No, we did it at the Baptist Men for Baptist Men's Day.
No, we didn't.
Who didn't?
I didn't.
That's on you.
No, because the
you were in the 8:30 service.
Yes. But no, I kept nursery for the 11, and they said they weren't doing it. They said the what we call the band.
No!
Then
those guys they sang, but we also sang.
Y'all sing in the choir? Yeah, I missed that.
Well, no, we did do something new this year. Andy suggested it, and it was a great idea. So if you haven't had your Baptist Men's Day this year yet, keep this in the back of your mind. If you have, keep it in the back of your mind for next year. But what Andy did was, when it was our turn to sing, we just did the call to worship, I think is what we did. Yeah, we did the call to worship as the choir, as the men's choir. And he actually had all the men in the sanctuary that weren't in the choir loft with us. They stood and sang with us. So it was literally all the men in the church were one big choir for the call to worship.
Yeah, I was like, man, I even got one of the security guys. Hey, I'm gonna go sing, so you stay here and help Rachel keep the kids. And I don't know we're doing that today. I was like,
that's just because he didn't want to come.
Yeah,
who was it?
I can't remember.
No names. I'm just joking. I don't know who you were that said it, but it's probably Scotty. He just didn't want to sing.
I think it was Scotty. It was someone else.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm trying to think of
no names unless Scotty. We'll name drop Scotty.
Scotty.
Yeah. But
I was disappointed. I was like, man, I look forward to that.
Well, we'll let you solo next year.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to. We lose membership.
It'll be all right. But yeah, we just want to have fun with it and hopefully give you guys some laughs about stuff. And we didn't have any dad jokes this episode because we literally just finished recording 30 seconds before we started recording this one.
If you could strict me to just biblical dad jokes, I'm gonna need some time to write.
We'll get some for next time.
That's a good session. Man, we can't do it every episode. There's just no way. I can come up with one every episode, but yeah, we need to have a little dad joke. Baptist edition.
You know what? We'll do. Anybody that comes up with a biblical dad joke, email it to us. The email is there
for the shout out
on the page. We'll give you a shout out. We'll read it, and we're still working on the website. We will have a website. There's a placeholder on it right now. It's Bowtie Baptist with an S, bowtiebaptist.com, and maybe even have a page dedicated to dad jokes.
Yeah,
biblical dad jokes.
And something we talked about was doing some writing on there.
Yeah,
some little blogs and whatnot.
And I will mention, since Easter is coming up, one of the things that we said we were going to discuss as an episode, and we'll probably record this next time since we've still got plenty of time, but about Judas bags. And
we're doing an Annie Armstrong episode.
We're doing an Annie Armstrong episode.
Is she? Do we have a cutout of her?
I'll have to ask Amanda.
I think Andy said.
I think she said she has one.
More. Yeah, she's taller than 5'2".
I think so.
Okay. That's a Lottie Moon joke in case.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure
the Baptist audience.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Amanda said she does have a cutout of her already. So we'll have her here with us. That'll be our fourth different backdrop. And when we do that one, we'll go ahead and let the audience know. Maybe we'll do 2 episodes about Annie Armstrong. One of them will be focused on Annie Armstrong with the Easter offering. And then maybe another one will be the controversial topic of a lot of churches in the SBC don't participate in Annie Armstrong and why. And we'll discuss what our stances are. Personally,
I don't see anything wrong with the conversation.
No,
as long as it's factual and
yeah.
I mean,
we're not going to be dragging people through the mud.
But at no point are we here to convince anybody of anything.
Yeah,
we're here to relay facts and
because we actually just talked about it within the last week and a half, and we do have slightly different views on it, and that's
okay.
It is, yeah. And the more information you can get, the more sound your decision can be.
Yeah.
But there's no point, like I've mentioned to you earlier, I don't like shooting off at the hip and, coming in. And one of the things we talked about right before we started recording was, information is good to have to help make a decision. But what is the source?
Yep.
Corroborate and confirm. And, as well as I do, anybody can put anything on the internet. We've got our own website. We can put literally anything we wanted to on there. But if we can confirm it, if we can corroborate it, that's the information I want. Yeah. I don't want hearsay. But that goes back to you can't make an arrest on hearsay. Yeah,
and to just in what I would like for us to do, anytime that we maybe have something to report, let's say negatively in the SBC, I don't want to be a news station, right? I don't want to just report the bad.
Yeah.
Because just however many examples I can give you of bad, I can easily outnumber with the good.
Yes.
And I think I want to keep that in mind. Just
absolutely.
Time we ever,
absolutely.
Because you and I both have seen the missionaries be sent off. I believe in the cooperative program.
Yeah.
And Southern Baptists are a source of good.
Yeah.
And then isn't that the saying? We're a source of good.
I think that is. That sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right. And I just want to make sure. But I totally believe that.
Yeah.
The cooperative program is a good thing.
Yeah.
NAM is a good thing.
Yeah.
IMB is a good thing. Now we're all sinful creatures.
Yeah.
And we will never, that will never not be the case.
Bringing that up, we won't chase anything tonight with it, but in some of the conversations we had today, actually, I actually learned, and I'm gonna have to research this, but one of the things that I read, again, confirm and corroborate, I haven't done that yet, but something that I'm going to look into was a statement that said there was actually significant embezzlement in I think it was the Home Mission Board back in the early 1900s. That would have been the equivalent of like $18 million in today's money.
Is that obviously pre-NAM?
That's the equivalent of NAM.
Yeah.
Okay. So Home Mission Board, it was the television and radio entity, and the Brotherhood combined to form NAM.
Yeah.
I think that was in 97.
Yeah.
But so we're looking over 100 years ago. You've got issues. What's to keep us from having the same issues now? I'm not saying that we do.
No.
A lot of people think we do. And I'm not saying they're right. I'm not saying they're wrong. That's what we want to talk about. We want to provide the information so that people can make informed decisions based off of facts.
And we want to
not hearsay.
What did we say? The convention. We came up with like a slogan for the convention teams, like inform the congregation, but equip the member.
Yeah.
The messenger. Equip the messenger.
Yeah, equipping the messenger.
We're not here to influence anyone on. We just want to relay the facts. And the facts, like you were saying, it takes a while to dig through, because there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of opinions and like you said, flying off the hill, and it takes a minute to dig through all that. And we want to make sure that we're reporting factual information.
Yeah, and what we're wanting to do is we're going more involved here than what we will do with our RAs. Obviously, we're not telling our boys any of the issues going on. Mm-hmm. What we want to do, also, one of the main focuses whenever we're discussing Southern Baptist topics, in particular the entities, is we want to educate on what its intended purpose is, what it's like designed to do, and how it's designed to function.
Yeah.
Because if we can do that, if people can understand what NAM is, what NAM's purpose is, how they're supposed to achieve their purpose, what they have set in place to achieve that purpose, then if you understand what they're supposed to be, then we don't have to tell anybody, and nobody has to tell anybody what they're doing wrong. They'll be able to see that something's not going all right. And I said NAM. Well, I know NAM is the one everybody's having issues with right now. But it's across the board.
Just like we talked about earlier today, I think it's important for us to, it's not always NAM's fault. Sometimes it's the messenger's fault.
Yeah.
And that's not being, we need to talk about that too. It's blame on both sides here. But anyway, that's just I just wanted to throw that out there. We're not sitting here just trying to attack NAM here.
No. And I'll throw that out there. What JT's referring to here in particular is the comment that Org made at the EC meeting. But basically, it goes back to the funding for what was started in 2021 at the annual meeting, when the messengers approved for an outside entity to come in and investigate the.
Well, the messengers also, correct me if I'm wrong here, they voted it okay to dip in CP funding if need be. Was that?
Well, no, it wasn't a need be. It's that is what would pay for it. Now,
to me,
the wording of it is not good.
Now, granted, there's other things at play here, but
it's one of those things. If you're going to investigate something, you have to have a way to pay for it, which it's going to come out of CP anyway, unless you have somebody willing to donate the money to pay for the investigation. Now, I don't think that those messengers anticipated where we're at now and how much money we've spent.
Well, just like the attorney-client privilege. Yeah. There's no way you would, because it sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good in the bottom on a motion board, at the podium saying it, but it's not. And we're just saying all this. There's multiple factors leading up, and it's just not evil people at the top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not all. That's not all what's happening here. So it's a very complex thing. It's ran from the bottom up, which even a lot of Southern Baptists probably don't know that.
Yeah.
That's how this convention is ran, and that in itself is not a perfect system. There's no such thing as a perfect system, and I think that's the closest you can get to a non-autonomous church ran organization.
Yeah.
But it's still complex things, which is, eventually probably how we started being friends. Really, we just started talking about it, and we were like, no one else was knowledgeable enough to talk about it. So I was like, okay, well, Jody's my guy to talk about this kind of stuff with. And so, but anyway, we kind of got off on that little. We're gonna have a
45-minute episode this week, but
10 minutes for this episode, we were just talking about how we're going.
Yeah, how are we going to
make an episode
make this 30 minutes? It's going to be a 15-minute
show,
but here we are at 45 minutes.
Yeah, we'll learn eventually.
But and we actually talked very little about the actual slogan.
Well, no, again, it's everything that we were talking about. It's all in the secular world.
Yeah,
everything, and that. Everything that happens in the secular, there's problems in everything that happens in the secular world.
Yeah.
You will always have problems. And this goes to the SBC, this goes to secular work, whatever you want to say it. But I mean, there's biblical answers.
Right.
Is what we're getting.
Yeah. And that's what we're looking to give you guys is the biblical answer. Answers.
And eventually our convention meetings, right now we're more so just organizing messengers, but leading up to the convention, we will be updating with these facts. We will be educating the messengers who are committed to go, not, again, to influence votes or anything, but we want to equip the messenger to be in prayer, to vote how they feel about the vote. Yeah.
And that's,
so if you enjoy what we're talking about, come to our convention meetings.
Yeah. And that's one of the things is we've gone to the annual meeting the last 2 years. We've taken a group of messengers from our church. This year's going to be expensive because we're having to fly to Dallas. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. I probably upset the folks on the executive committee, but that's fine. They say that there's no viable way to allow messengers to participate remotely. That's garbage.
This is where we might, because to me, it's like, this is like mail-in balloting. To me, that there's a very easy way one could manipulate that.
You can do that at the actual meeting too.
You certainly can, and it certainly happens.
Yeah.
But
and then here's
maybe in the scheme that I'm thinking it would be held at.
Yeah.
I don't foresee how it could work. Maybe you envision a different way of it happening.
I mean, it wouldn't be like you do it from your house or anything like that. Like you would have to be at
I could see it being
one location per state.
I could almost see it be at a state, like a state convention event.
Yeah.
Yet a national meeting taking place.
Correct. Yeah. And
I can see that.
And you would have to, obviously you wouldn't be able to do raised ballot votes on anything.
Well, I mean,
but honestly, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you,
technology is good enough to where you could count the votes in the state meeting to then tally it very quickly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm talking about just like a raised ballot vote. Yeah. And just going off on that, this is a tangent. I'm going to try not to go too long of a tangent on it.
Yeah.
But I still think that there were the 2/3 vote that was required to have a formal vote or formal discussion, whatever the case was at New Orleans about a topic that was brought up. They said that it didn't meet the number of votes needed for raised ballot.
Are you willing to say what that was referring to?
It was about, if I'm remembering right, I'm almost certain it had to do with NAM.
You don't remember that?
It was something to do with financial transparency.
Okay, let's say because it blew my mind that you didn't have the votes from the floor to request a paper ballot.
Well, here's the thing
I was there.
Here's the thing I didn't like about it is we did the raised ballot vote, but they said going into the annual meeting, you might not be able to be seen if you're standing up, if you're not, like, even if you're at a microphone, you might not be able to be seen by the speaker on the podium because of the lighting and the way the room's set and stuff like that. So if you can't see somebody that's standing at a microphone, how are you supposed to see an accurate number? I'm sorry, but I don't believe that vote did not pass.
Who's ever done that? I will say the parliamentarian. I think that's the parliamentarian.
Yeah, the parliamentarian.
That is a sharp individual.
Yes.
And someone got him on a word he said, and he corrected him. No, I said this, and he was right because they played it. But I mean, you're talking about a sharp individual. Until I'm proven differently.
Yeah.
I'm going to believe that he's checking. I'm going to believe he's unbiased.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy at the podium, the president or whoever it was, he's telling him too. I don't think anything goes without the parliamentarian's approval.
See, but this is my thing. Maybe I'm getting off on a soapbox. All right. All those in favor, raise your ballot.
Yeah.
Okay, all those against, raise your ballot.
Oh,
You have 1,000 people in there.
Yeah.
Tell me exactly what that count was.
Well, but that's
when it's that close.
Well, see, I thought it had to right, but that's called a raised ballot, right? But I thought if it was within, I can't remember. I'm gonna misspeak here. Is it over 1/3? If over the one vote,
2/3.
But I thought there was a certain percentage that they went by in their head. Okay, this is too close. We gotta get to a paper ballot, and I can't remember that number. But to me, I'm like 2/3. I don't know, man. A third is a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, it was.
A third's well, like you
said,
it
was close enough that, in my opinion, it should have been a actual turn in your ballot vote to get your numbers right.
10,000 something people. Yeah. And what if it's heavily favored on one side, where the first vote was more sporadic?
Yeah,
one's going to appear bigger than the other. So I mean,
and
we'll see if financial transparency comes in. But you got some people, and I don't know if you want. Well, we might not want to discuss this, but I mean, because the president.
You go and bring up the topic. We won't discuss it tonight. We maybe discuss it another time. The president already running long.
One of the reasons, he and Clint Presley, who's the current president, he said from the podium today, he said, "I love the amount of transparency we do have," and he got eaten alive online. And I don't know if he knows that or not. Just a couple things I'm saying it, but I mean, one of the reasons because he won after 2 runoffs. The last runoff I voted for him, and one of the reasons why I studied each one of these presidents, these candidates, and he was a proponent. He was a advocate of financial transparency.
Yeah, and I will. Go ahead. And I'm going to mention this, and then we'll go ahead and close it since we're coming up on an hour. But one thing that I would love to know, if it's ever been proposed, how I would need to go about proposing it, is when we were in New Orleans, there was a candidate that didn't get nominated. Like, we didn't know he was running until his name was announced. There was no, it was either the first or second vice president. But think on this, and we can talk about this in another episode, but do you see an issue with, like, literally, I could show up to the annual meeting and they say, if you want to nominate somebody for president, and you come down, I could walk down there and nominate you for president. Absolutely nobody, no offense, absolutely nobody in that room knows you. Yeah. Nobody knows me except for the folks from Bellevue. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem because in order to do, and I know what the argument's going to be, is, well, the Lord could lead you to go up and say it. And I'm sorry.
I get that, but you can't run next year. Run next year. Put your name in the ballot. Run next.
It's like
I need to be able to.
You've got to make a sound. If it's involving God's work, and God's kingdom, then I don't think He wants you shooting off the hip with it. Yeah. He wants His people making informed decisions. Yeah. Like they have to use wisdom and discernment, and you can't use wisdom and discernment when you don't have the information available to make a wise decision.
Right.
But where I'm going with that is, anybody much smarter than me that knows about parliamentarian law or whatever would need to be known.
Yeah. That's a smart individual. He impressed me, man.
How would you do you think it would be a good idea to modify, I guess it would be the bylaws, to where you have to be nominated formally minimum amount of time out of the annual meeting?
Yeah, I mean, you could just say it, but the problem is you can't just get up and say that motion, because if you don't say it correctly, it's not getting through the committee. You gotta have your P's and Q's in order. And I can't explain that other than you just got to see it, because I mean, people will come up and say valid things, but they don't say it articulately or exactly the position. Yeah, they won't even get through the committee.
Yeah.
But before we forget, we are closing in on an hour. This is amazing. I didn't think we were going to make it 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be sitting because we mentioned financial transparency so much here tonight, and I don't want to be. And I don't want people to think, well, I just want to see the books. I just want to see the numbers. I want to know exactly what that guy makes. No, that's not it. You have some distrust right now that, in my opinion, the way you earn back trust, because at the end of the day, distrust also hurts missions. Yeah. It hurts funding, and people, whether right or wrong, they might not give as much to Andy Armstrong or whatnot. Yeah. All these things flowing in the background. So to me, the transparency aspect is not. I don't necessarily want to know what this guy makes. I want us as a convention to build back trust with the messengers and the members. Yeah. To me, that's how you solve that problem.
Yeah, and we'll just dedicate one of our next episodes. We'll plan on recording about that the next time we get together.
That'd be a good one, just to go through kind of what we learned from the executive committee.
And we briefing. And then we can talk about our thoughts on it. What we would like, what our version of transparency that we would like to see is, as far as I'm concerned, I think the wrong questions are being asked when it comes to expenses and information. I think there's other questions that are not being focused on that would be much more insightful than, why are we spending this much money on this? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, what exactly is that purchase being used for? Like, show me how exactly it is missionally beneficial. How is it benefiting the goal and the mission of advancing the kingdom?
Other than just an appreciating asset.
Yeah. And now if you can't answer that question, got problems.
And I want to believe me. I want to believe, because we did the same things at our church. Yeah. If the task is needed, we appoint a committee, if you will, and we trust that committee. Yeah. And I honestly believe the committee is made of good people trying to do the right things. And I mean, my gosh, we're dealing with a $450 something million a year. Yeah. As a convention. I mean, you're just talking about a huge amount of money, and everybody can, a rounding error of $600,000. Well, I mean, that, to me, as stewards of God's money, we need to be critical of that. Yeah. And we need to be, we need to bring it to light, because that's $600,000 that could have gone to missions. Yeah. And so I think you hate to just be critical, because I truly believe there are good people trying to do the right thing. Right. And I don't want to just beat them, because I don't. So a lot of those committees, I don't even know if you're paid to be on some of those committees. Like the Sexual Abuse Task Force. I mean, do you think they got paid for that?
I don't think any of them.
I don't think any of them got paid.
I don't think any of them are actually getting paid for it.
Well, I know they are overworked, and they are heavily scrutinized. Oh, and I hate that for them.
But we will focus on that in one of our upcoming episodes here in the next month. So we'll probably get together in another 2 or 3 weeks and record something else, record several more, and that'll definitely be one of them, because, like you say, it's coming up on Easter. Andy Armstrong.
No shortage of content.
Yeah, I'll personally continue to support Andy Armstrong. I know there's some people that don't, but we can discuss that later.
The answer is not to cut missions.
Right.
And so, again, we can get going into that, but no, I don't think the answer is to cut off the missionary.
Yeah. And so what we'll do is we'll talk about Andy Armstrong itself, the offering, the person in an episode. And then another episode when we're talking about the transparency and concerns we see and we have, and questions we would like to have answered and see answered. But maybe we can even discuss, okay, at what point would what would cause you to cross over that threshold that you don't feel right supporting it any longer? I don't know, but we got time to think about it. But
we'll play around with it. But I mean, again, the fight is not to not give to God. The
Yeah.
fight is what we do. We're participating. We're contending in the annual meetings.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the fight.
Yeah.
Not just closing your offerings to the Lord.
Yeah. And it goes back to the slogan, biblically navigating that secular world, which includes the giving and what's happening and how it's being spent. What's the biblical answer?
Well,
and I'm not saying I'm not asking right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm about to say, because we're about to hit on some.
Yeah.
We're about to add another 30 minutes of this video.
But
yeah, I mean, anything you want to comment, talk to us about, please approach us. Anything you would like us to add or talk about, with the episodes Jody just mentioned, please. I mean, we're doing this for not only our congregation, but other, churches that might be listening to us as well, that maybe can't send 6 messengers or whatever the number is, please, join the fight, join the, our community, and, tell us what you think.
Yeah. Let us know your opinions. We want to grow from your feedback as well. And I literally just realized looking at this monitor that I am not that much taller than you.
No, you're not. I'm sunken in.
Yeah.
You look like a giant compared to me.
Gotta say that. I'll give you the high ground next time.
Yeah.
But that's the difference of a chair.
Yeah.
So
I slouch, I kind of like this chair. I was laying back, I was comfy, I was right next to the heater, so it was perfect.
Yeah. But all right.
Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
And hang out with us.
Yeah, we will see you guys on the next episode.